We're going to be starting off with Hobbs and Shaw reviews. So we both have finally seen the movie, and I want to break it down in multiple pieces. I want to go through the characters. I want to go through the story. I want to go through the action. I want to compare it to Fast and Furious. Want to talk about everything involved with this movie because I literally just saw it today. And actually, interesting story. So we were gonna go yesterday, and we were like too lazy. We've been cleaning the house and unpacking shit all day, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna go. And then we're like, fuck, I'm so tired. Let's just not go. We'll go tomorrow.
All right.
So we're like 12:15. We head to the movie theater. We get there, and we're like, oh, the doors aren't open. I'm like, it must open at 12. 12 comes. 12:05 comes. I'm like, why are the fucking doors not open yet? Finally, they open the doors. We go inside. Apparently, the whole Regal system is down. And so they're like writing people's stuff down. They could only take cash. Luckily, I have cash. But I walk up and I'm like, so I have a free movie ticket. Can I use this since your system's down? She goes, yeah, sure. So I still have the free movie ticket on my phone, so I can use it again.
You got it free. So that makes up for me. That makes me feel a little bit better because I gave him too much fucking money because I rented and raved it about the 40X. So even though you got it free, Regal, don't come after her ass or anything. I double paid. I paid for them to go watch the movie.
Well, he paid. We paid for him. So like I had my free movie ticket. We paid for him, and then we bought stuff at the concession stand. Thank God I had enough cash on me because I never carry cash, but I had cash.
Okay, good.
So we
Going old school.
Yeah, I know. Nobody carries cash anymore. But thank God I did because we wouldn't have seen it today if I didn't.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, so experience to get into the theater, but finally get in. The interesting thing is, since we do our trailers, like we do trailer reactions and we do what's hitting theaters and everything, watching trailers in movie theaters now is like, I've seen all of these.
It's great, isn't it?
There's not one trailer I didn't see.
I'm not gonna lie, I was sitting there, I was like, oh, that's for, that's for kitchen, that's for this, and I just kept leaning over like, oh, this was mediocre, I said it kind of looked like blah, blah, blah. I was like, what the fuck is this? I've never been on top of shit, so it's really cool to be able to see this stuff. So I agree with you on that.
So let's jump into the Hobbs and Shaw trailer breakdown. Now, you've seen all the Fast and Furious movies, correct?
I've seen all the Fast and Furious, even though none of them are like my go-to movies. They're enjoyable, they're fun, they're action, they're just stupid. They got their fun moments.
They're over the top. I mean, when you're jumping cars from building to building, it's like, what? But it's fun and entertaining. So with this, we already had a character foundation for Hobbs and for Shaw. Like,
it's a lot more fresh on your mind than it is on mine. So please work with me on this and jog my memory. I think it started off with
the split screen.
Yeah. With them getting up in the morning in their normal routine, and he's like making eggs in his beautiful house, and The Rock is like fucking chugging them.
Technically, it started off with Shaw's sister and her team going in to get this weapon, MI6 going in to get this weapon, and then I don't even know his name in the movie. I'm just going to call him Black Superman.
Yeah, Black Superman is great.
Thank you.
I loved it.
So Black Superman. So Black Superman basically kills her whole team, and she ends up taking the virus in her hand because it, like, the case or whatever, it was in a
Mission Impossible. Okay.
Yes. So she had to take it or it was going to disperse. So she had to put it into her skin.
No.
And
she had to take it because he was going to take it. It wasn't going to disperse.
Exactly. Like, okay, so but he was going to take it.
Okay.
So she couldn't let him do it.
Right.
So she had to put it in because it was going to dispatch. Like, that's the thing. Like, either she did it or he was going to do it. So she had to take it.
Okay.
So then she gets away, and he basically frames her for the murder of her entire team, which later we find out was the exact same thing that happened to Shaw, her brother.
Yeah, and he's definitely got pulled because you start seeing him pop later on. Go ahead and continue, though, because it's fresh on your mind.
Yeah, so then we get to the split screen of Hobbs and Shaw and how they're so different. And
London and LA?
LA, yes. And just their fighting styles, their techniques and everything, just to give you an idea of who they are.
When he was drawing the tattoo on the guy, I thought it was going to be a dick.
I did too.
I leaned over, I was like, he's drawing a dick on that guy. And he said something, I heart cops up or something like that.
Yes,
I thought it was going to be a dick. I don't know why, but it should have been a dick. It should have been a dick.
I feel like you knew that's what it was going to be, so they had to do something else. And for a guy in the criminal world
I would have loved for like two balls on the side of his head, and then like the dick comes down and like comes off on the nose.
Oh God, no.
He'd be a dickhead.
That's true, he would. But I think in his world, that would still be better than saying, I love cops.
True, but
So.
I was expecting a dick.
I was too.
So one time in my life, I was looking forward to seeing a dick, and I did not get it.
Oh God. So then they get assigned to the same case. Mr. Nobody from the Fast and Furious franchise recommended Shaw, and then obviously the government already knows Hobbs. Now, I did not know Ryan Reynolds was in this movie. He just pops up.
And they were like, what kind of character is he going to play? People love fucking Deadpool. All right, make him Deadpool. That's cool.
Yep.
And he's just talking about the insides melting of people all around. He's like talking where the little girl can hear him, his daughter. And I'm like, Jesus, dude, come on.
Yes.
So he's not subtle at all.
9-year-old too. Yeah. So was not expecting that. It's just Ryan Reynolds though. Like I don't see him. It's Ryan Reynolds or Ryan Reynolds to extreme, which is Deadpool.
Yeah, he was like, look at my tattoo. We're like brothers now. Look at how white I am. Jesus. Okay, continue.
So they get put on the same assignment, and they're both like, fuck you, we're not working together.
Yeah. Big dick competition,
Yep, definitely. So before we go through the entire movie, from a character's perspective, now that like Hobbs and Shaw, what did you just think of them leading characters? We already are familiar with both of them, more so with Hobbs than Shaw, but like, what did you think of them?
They had a moment in the last Fast and Furious where they were all like, fuck you, and then they were like, I respect you, bro, and like fist bump, and they were like, cool. And then this one, they're just like, that never happened. I don't even remember that. You can move on. That literally had a moment. They had a moment in the last one to show that they're working past it.
Was that the 8th one?
I don't fucking know. I just know they were.
I think so.
It was one where they were like cool with each other, you know. So they made it like they made a comment. They were both working on the engine. They kind of talked a little bit about their past, and then you could see that they're moving on. And they were just like, forget about it. We need something. So go ahead.
From a character perspective, honestly, one of my favorite Fast and Furious movies was Fast 5, and that's when The Rock got introduced.
Okay.
I think it elevated the Fast and Furious movies to more than just street races. But this movie does not feel like a Fast and Furious movie to me at all. Like it just feels like a completely different action movie. But from a character development, I think taking Hobbs and giving him his own franchise was probably the best person out of all the characters in Fast and Furious that you could have done. I do find it strange.
Because he's like an external person of the crew.
Yes.
So, yes, I agree. If you did anyone of the crew, then you'd have to have the crew. We're family. Right. And by the way, I know I'm jumping ahead. I fucking called it with those guns on that farm.
Yes.
All right, I just want to point that out.
You did. But like I find it like out of all the characters they decide from the Fast and Furious world to bring with him, bring Shaw, which technically Shaw has always been a bad guy. Like I was expecting, because I even heard that there was like justice for Han, and I'm like, where's the justice for Han? There's nothing in here in the movie about like him getting what he deserved for killing Han. Like what in the world?
I think he would have less of a cohesion with the opposite side if it was part of the original crew, because Han was part of the original crew.
Yeah.
But since Hobbs is not part of it, he doesn't hold as much of a grudge towards it because he knows he's done some shit. Hobbs has done some shit. So because both of them are kind of external from it, I don't think you can actually pull in emotions from the original series. And I heard
but that's
go ahead.
That's not just how he should react, but it's us as an audience. Like I find myself like, yes, I want to root for him, but at the same time I'm like, but you kill Hobbs, and as a Fast and Furious fan, I'm like, I'm not gonna get anything for this. Like Hobbs' death doesn't even matter. Like what?
You never know. They're making like 35 more of these things. So maybe when his exit thing is, it's him making amends for the Han thing. Because just like the MCU, everything comes full circle. This is the Final Fantasy, Fast and Furious MCU, where I think it's gonna come full circle at some point in time. They're gonna fucking milk that cow as much as they can, but as soon as they're ready to exit him out and replace him with somebody new, I think he's gonna do a sacrificial thing, kind of like an amend for Han to put a bow on his character at the end. I think this is kind of you're at a party, you're enjoying a meal, but this is like that side hors d'oeuvre that came by, and you're like, that looks fucking delicious. It's not going to ruin my meal. It's not going to ruin my stuff, but I really want to try that. And I think that's all it's meant to be. I do think they're going to do a few more of those, but I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to space them out enough where it doesn't dilute the actual franchise.
Yeah. the sister, new character, I loved her. I thought she was badass on her own. I thought she was sassy and fun and smart. Like she wasn't a damsel in distress.
She started that way, but then at the end she didn't.
What do you mean?
At the end, it became less and less. Like, it started with her being powerful, and at the end, she was the exact opposite. She became a damsel in distress.
So I will say, because like when they kidnapped her and put her on the chopper, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, what? When, like, why is she getting just taken like this? Like, but at the same time, like I understand it because she did at the end fight back. Like right before the guy was gonna shoot her, anyways, we're jumping ahead. I want
to jump all over the place. That's how my mind works. I'm a guy. I don't I can't even say it. Put everything in order. I'm just like, ha, 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 whoo. That's me. Go ahead and continue. So, keep me on trail.
But with her character, yes, she started off really strong. And then I do believe she did take a dip, but I think she kind of pulled it back a little bit. Not at the level as she was at the beginning, but I think you had to kind of find the balance.
I know. I think that was the writers realizing how much they fucked up, and they were like, "Oh, let's go ahead and give her this little scene right here, and maybe no one will notice." I fucking noticed.
Okay. What I found weird is the brunette girl who's on the poster for the movie was in the movie for 5 minutes.
I don't even know.
She's the one that goes and they land and they go and they walk in and then Shaw kisses her and she's like
because she's fucking hot.
Poster.
Sex sells. What do you expect?
I know, but she's on the poster. She's in the movie for less than 5 minutes.
She's like, I'm killing all these mob gangsters in my lingerie. Of course it'll get some people to come in here. I'd watch it. I'd be as interested in this movie as I would be in her movie because they said they were like, oh, she messes with the mob. No, she kills the mob. She kills people in the mob. And
I would be interested. Yeah. They probably set her up where she could be as they expand this. They
make their own family.
She becomes part of it. So this was just a taste of her, but I don't think she deserved a spot.
I think she tasted sweet.
She didn't deserve a spot on the poster, but okay. So and then Black Superman.
Yep.
Oh my God, he was awesome.
Called the motorcycle too. I fucking called that shit too.
You did. I love motorcycle. I want one of those.
Yeah, it was fucking amazing. I love that thing.
But it was so. I like the way that you get to see kind of as Hobbs is coming in for a punch, you can see everything going on with his eyes.
It's because he's processing that information. He's got good RAM.
Right. I wish we would have learned a little bit more about what exactly they did to him. All I know is they fixed his spine and they put some stuff in him. Because he's not bulletproof, his suit was bulletproof, right?
Correct, but it was mechanical enhancements, built him better, faster, stronger. So I mean, they ended up they had the spine open, and I rewatched the trailer after the movie. By the way, there was stuff in the trailer that actually showed more about him than it did in the actual movie, but. They are basically it's the Terminator. It's the beginning of the Terminator. That's what he said.
He was like, so the Terminator's after us.
Basically,
all the pop culture references too there were so many of them sprinkled throughout the movie. But yeah, the Terminator's after us. I like that one. That one was.
I like the amount of pull they had. It did make me interested at the end.
Okay, yes. So
go ahead.
The story thing, the poll that you mentioned. So this organization that he works for I didn't like the fact that his boss, he goes into a room and you just see the volume on the walls go up and down when his boss is talking and his boss's voice is muffled and stuff. And you're like, well, and he has a past with Hobbs and everything. And he wants
Hobbs who that is?
To join him. I either think it was Charlize Theron from the other Fast and Furious movies, the last movie, or it could be Mr. Nobody. But other than that, I don't know if there's somebody else.
I didn't want to take blind stabs in the dark and see if you were educated on that. You didn't like the voice basically controlling him?
Well, I didn't like the fact that it was just so cliche. It was just, the big boss man has this voice that is, you don't know who he is.
You gotta
be. But it's so cliche.
Yeah, I understand that, but the motherfucker can stop bullets and fight multiple people. He can do it. He's got a motorcycle that's basically Bumblebee in a motorcycle form. You can't basically, to keep him under your thumb, you have to be able to do something and keep yourself anonymous, because if he had, with the resources he has, he can come after the dude, so he's got to stay anonymous, and he can just shut his ass down too.
Exactly, he can just shut him down, so there's no reason to be afraid of him.
But if you know who it is, then you can
shut him down.
Yeah, but if you know who it is, you can be like, oh, obviously it's this person, which means this is their resources, this is how they're actually doing all this and being able to fund it. If that's the case, maybe I can I understand it's cliche.
It is.
I don't disagree with it, because would you rather have somebody go like this? Would you rather have, you're talking to them and then all of a sudden they're like, and they're petting a cat? Do you want that instead? This was tech savvy. They had to make a tech.
They could have done something. He could have had like something else. I don't know. But it was like, come on, that's so cliche. And then I did like the organization, though, in the fact that they were like, okay, we want these two guys. Flood the entire media. We're controlling the narrative. We control what people see. We control the news networks. We control everything, and everybody's on our side instantly. Yep. It was like, damn, these people have power.
They have pull.
Damn. I was like, that's impressive. And to take someone who Hobbs is a like pretty much a decorative soldier who like, I mean, they're not in the States, but at the same time, like, just instantly everybody believes it. All the news networks are like, yes.
Yeah, but the news networks may broadcast it, but it has nothing to do with what is true. And I know you agree with this, but what I'm saying is by the time the news broadcasts it, the public believes this. Just like in Spider-Man, the public believes what I showed them.
Fake news!
Yeah, so basically they show it, and yes, the military maybe start combating that. But by the time they combat it and prove his innocence, it's been like 5 months through the system and everything, and everybody's like, they're just trying to cover it up, all that shit. So it doesn't matter what the truth is. If you control that, you control all.
So the story with the vaccine, or not the vaccine, the virus.
Yeah, programmable.
Basically, that can melt anybody's insides or whatever. Little over the top or whatever, but I'm like, okay, I'll go with it. I'm not looking too much into this. All right, go with it. Yeah, it's in her. She has 72 hours, 48 hours, whatever it is, that before it just takes over her body, whatever. Still going for it. The thing I liked most about this movie was nonstop action. But there were points when it's like, before they got to the island, before they got to the Samoa Island, I actually was like, okay, this is a good spot to end it. Oh no, we're gonna go again. Okay, there's more. Yeah. Like, it felt really long to me. Like, it was like
one of my biggest gripes, and I want to point this out, because they started the machine that was custom made with a 3D printer from a guy that he knew could do work on cars from 20 years ago. The guy created it to fix it. Okay, first off, go ahead and take that. But then, not only when it kicked in, it said 30 minutes. Like, can you hold them up for 30 minutes? I mean, they're going to be here and all this. Next time you look at it, it's only been 8 minutes. But the sun went from darkness to full up under the sky. In 8 minutes, it went from darkness of the night, which I understand they were like, right before the sun rises and that kind of stuff. But holy shit, in 8 minutes, it took 5 hours. And I was really frustrated with that. And I'm getting all these out because I'm this guy.
I agree with you. The whole third act, the whole last fight sequence was fucking ridiculously stupid. Like,
I'm watching the movie with Mary, and Mary leans over with the chair doing this whole number because we're watching it in 4DX.
Yeah.
And she leans over as soon as they started hitting the NOS with the 2 wheels on the actual ledge.
God.
She hits the NOS. The dude hits the NOS, and she leans over and goes, "Now it's a Fast and the Furious movie." Yeah. And I started laughing because the 2 wheels pull 4 cars and a helicopter back to land, and then the next one lands and they hit the NOS again. And I was like, here we go.
Yeah, and then they do the camera stuff where they go through the car and stuff, and I got the same thing. I was like, oh, this is the Fast and Furious connection.
Right there.
Got it.
They hit NOS, and it became official.
That was it.
It became official.
So I really enjoyed the movie up to, like, even when they blew up the factory and everything, and they're getting away. The part where you started to lose me was when they went to the island. And I know The Rock wanted to bring in his own heritage. He's very proud of his heritage, and he wanted to bring it in. I just felt it was way over the top. It was just it was just too much. And I know you're right about the guns. It was the only way for it to, like, work, is to, like, get rid of the guns and everything.
You said guns and I flex, just to let you know.
Oh, there's nothing there. You put those little things away.
My right arm is pretty stout.
Oh, I bet that is your dominant arm, right?
Continue. Sorry, let's not get distracted.
So that whole sequence, it was just ridiculous and over the top. But the ones that I found when they started, like, they hooked the chain around the helicopter, which, first of all, the helicopter, he hooks the chain around and he doesn't hit any of the propellers coming around. I was like,
it's a good shot.
Okay, sure, I'll give you that. All right. And then they start lifting up, and one of the other guy comes over, and he has 2 hooks in hands, and he just throws the hook, and it hooks perfectly.
I made that face.
What the fuck?
He throws the hooks, and they grab the axle, and I go.
And then I was like, what? And then the next guy comes, and like, what?
He's got a machine that hits and hooks on its own.
Yes.
Every one of them hooked differently.
Yes, there were
because
3
they're
of them
custom rides.
Yes, and every single one of them was so stupid. Like, one of them, like, I think just like came out and like went up and hooked itself, and then the other one he backed up into the car behind him, and it hooked. And I'm just like, I can take a lot out of these Fast and Furious movies. I can go with a lot, like cars jumping through buildings, but I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, come on, like, that's just so stupid. And then
Mary and I started laughing. We started laughing in the theater because of how stupid it fucking was.
It was so stupid.
But you said before this, you were interested. You gave it a yellow. You're like, because you're like, yes. I like the unbelievable, just fun reaction.
I like over the top. Over the top, yes.
Was this over the top?
The action stuff, there was a lot of over the top. When he takes the motorcycle under the car underneath the 2 tractor trailers, the car going under, I like that. Okay. The motorcycle, fucking stupid. What? Too much. What? Too much.
You don't like
when they were.
He calculated it. He can calculate the rock throwing a punch, and he can't calculate a motorcycle driving.
It was, but the motorcycle like changed, and he was like, I was like, okay, that's a little much for me.
Don't you talk shit about Black Superman, and don't you talk shit about my motorcycle. Those are the highlights of the movie besides the 4DX. And by the way, one other scene, they were showing a scene where The Rock had like a Samoan towel on, like a natural.
Oh my God.
And he's running over to the truck to get on it. He's covered in the baby oil. And by the way, she leaned over and was like, this 4DX isn't very great. I don't smell baby oil. I thought that was fucking hilarious. But he's running over it. He takes off the towel and throws it, but the camera is like waist up still. And then the very next shot, it shows him like on the back of the truck, but he's got like shorts on. She goes, "Aw."
No. He's wearing, I think he was wearing like khaki pants or something.
Yeah, underneath the towel.
Yeah, you can see him when he like comes out.
No, when he's throwing off the towel, it's camera up, but you see him throw the towel off. That's all you see. Like from here up, and you see him grab the towel and throw it as he's running. And she's like, oh, and then he gets on the back, and then he's wearing the khaki shorts, and she's like, oh. And I was like,
and he puts on his shirt and everything.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, there was a lot of things that were unbelievably frustrating about the movie. There were a lot of highlights as well, a lot of stupid things, but if you go into it with a blind mindset, just like, it's going to be fun, it's going to be whatever.
Fun, over the top.
Yeah.
Like I said, I went into it a fun, over the top Fast and Furious movie. I was expecting, them jumping cars through buildings, be like, okay, that's stupid, but that's cool. And the motorcycle was cool. I want a motorcycle.
He could call that bitch.
Yes, exactly. Like that was pretty cool. But there were just some of the, I guess the biggest problem I had was some of the action with when they were at the plant and everything, and him and his sister in the car with all the open area, and they're driving through different buildings, and I'm just like, they're driving through buildings. They have no idea what's in that building. It could be a flat open empty building, but they know exactly where the ramp is, and they know exactly where the tower is the perfect length for his car to like just perfectly slide around. I'm like, this is too much for me. Like it's just okay.
That was too much. Okay, and I'm glad we drew the line on the knockoff Fast and the Furious. By the way,
it was. Come on, you're taking me out of it when things like that happen. I'm like, come on, there's no way to do that.
I like
the action was cool. The fighting, the physical fighting.
Physical fighting was great across the board. I love the hand-to-hand combat. I love the in the clip you see him trying to do the face scan of the guy, and he's putting his face up against the wall over and over to scan it. It doesn't work. But in the actual movie, there's like 10 guys in that room that had a fight, and each one he puts up against the wall, it doesn't work. He throws him to the side, picks up another dude, does it, and he goes through every one of them. There's a pile of dudes.
There's a pile of dudes.
Which we were watching the trailer again. I saw the pile, and it made more sense that time around. But there was good action through it. Yep. But as soon as it became the comedy, as soon as it came to cars or guns, it wasn't that great. And Jesus, that I called the EMP so much. I would have rather had them actually have. Instead of a full-on face-to-face fighting melee style, I would have rather had them coming into the island, but in like guerrilla warfare. I would have liked it like Predator versus, Arnold Schwarzenegger, where they're building the traps and stuff. They did traps, but they had a fucking semi-truck of gasoline they built one of their traps with. Well, who the fuck keeps that on their lot? I understand you customize cars, but Jesus Christ. So I would have loved for more of they're going through the jungle. They have their guns, but it's
hand to hand.
You get in close.
Intimate fighting. Yeah,
right. They're going to have weapons.
We don't over the top.
Yeah, they have guns. Well, we're just going to have to get them in close so guns don't matter. That kind of fucking line, Yeah. So you can't hate on it too much because it's exactly what I thought it was going to be. But the 40X made it so much more enjoyable. I liked it. I'm telling you.
I know you don't even remember all the different Fast and Furious, so there's no way you could rank this one in order of all of them. But if you had to kind of like, you're going to put it
How many are there now?
There's 8 Fast and Furious and this one.
Okay, so there's 9 total movies?
9 total movies.
I'll put that at number 4.
That's very random. If you can't remember all the movies, how do you
I can't, but I remember the emotional pull they had if I started it up and how much I actually gave a shit. There were some that I cared more about when it ended, and others that I completely don't even remember. So I'd put it at number 4. Like, fucking, what is it, Tokyo Drift? Love DK, love that story, it was enjoyable. But I couldn't stand Mr. Country for doing it. So that ruined the fucking movie for me.
Thank you.
I live in Nashville.
Same thing.
I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, and I don't talk like this. And that was way too much. So that I know there's movies that were better in the series. I know there's more movies that were worse in the series. So that's why I put it number 4 out of 9.
Okay. So I will say, Russell loves Tokyo Drift because it's over the top and it's fun.
DK
I think it's like his second or third favorite Fast and Furious movie, but it's my least favorite is Too Fast, Too Furious. The second movie was just unrememberable. Like, it's just not a great movie. And then Tokyo Drift is down there at the bottom as well because I cannot. His voice. I'm sorry, Lucas. You gotta be my
American muscle.
It was so bad. Like,
it reminds me of the fucking Jeff Dunham's character with the 2 teeth that talks NASCAR. It reminds me of that character.
You could literally put any other actor, and that movie would go way up. But because of him, and
is his voice naturally like that?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize for making fun of the actual voice. But I don't know if they made him sound more American or not.
I think they tried, like, I think he has a country accent, and then they did it over the top, too.
Kobe's voice. Kobe would have been perfect. Kobe, like, you know what I'm talking about. Kobe's voice, it's got that country twang to it. Brother-in-law, he's got a country twang to it, but it's not over the fucking top.
Yes. I agree.
And I think Kobe would have done a lot better in that movie too.
Yeah,
with
probably.
No acting skills, just because.
But again, my favorite was Fast 5. I also enjoyed.
Isn't Fast 5 where they're driving along and he wrecks a car to be able to get the momentum to jump across a bridge to latch onto another car that's about to fall off or something?
That's Fast and Furious 6.
Oh, okay. See, I don't remember all of them. I just remember there's always something fucking stupid.
Yeah, I would say I'd probably put this around 4 or 5. I'd actually have to go through and list them again. Like, I'd have to go through and remember all of them. But yeah, I'd put this one around 4 or 5, I guess. Like, right there in the middle. Like, it's not one of the worst ones, but it's definitely not in, like, the top.
It's more in the top. Grade. It's in the top half for me. 3 to 4 for me. That's just me. Because, it was, but it had... I guess it's because it had more backing, power, and money to be able to help it along.
Yeah. Let's talk about the end credit scenes, which, by the way, by the end of the movie, I had to pee so bad. And I'm like waiting and waiting and waiting. Because so the first end credit scene was Ryan Reynolds like
that one melts your insides. This one melts your outsides.
Yeah, I'm like, they're
like,
kidding,
okay.
right? They're not really gonna do
I was
anything
about
with that.
that.
Yeah, well, like, I was like, okay, this is a cute end credit scene, setting it up and everything. And then the next end credit scene is The Rock calling the police on Shaw and having him some ridiculous name, like he did with him at the airport and everything. Do you remember that part?
Yeah. Okay. I didn't watch that credit scene though. I left.
Yeah, there's nothing really about it. He's just like
practical jokers with best friends.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're waiting because I was like, oh, there's one more at the very, very end. So we wait through all of the credits and we get to the very end, and it's the second half of the conversation with Ryan Reynolds. And Ryan Reynolds is like, oh my God, I've been shot, come rescue me. Oh wait, that's not my blood. Oh, by the way, I really did stab a guy through the chest with a brick. And they show the guy through the chest, dead next to him with a brick in his chest, and then that's the end. I'm like, I waited through all of these goddamn credits for that.
I'm sorry you got spoiled by Marvel. You got spoiled by Marvel.
Just don't put anything at the end, or you could just put that. Like, why would you split that scene up? It just pissed me off. Like when I left the theater,
I'm offended. I didn't even pay for this ticket. I'm offended.
Exactly. I'm just like, I don't want to stay for
I liked Kevin Hart. I like Kevin Hart because
I almost forgot.
Kevin Hart and The Rock's relationship off screen is fucking great. So I loved him being in that as well, and just be like, I could do it, man. I could do it. I could be a third. And I guarantee they are going to bring him in at some point. Which 100%. That'll be basically Jumanji 2.5.
And he'll be basically the Tyrese character. So if you compare the characters
Did you hear about the Tyrese comment he made on Twitter or something?
I told you about that.
Okay, I wasn't sure who did. Go ahead. Talk about that.
I told you about the comment he made. It was like, oh, way to break up the family. It didn't get the results that you wanted, huh? Like something like that. Because he's trying to like take the franchise from Vin Diesel. They're finishing the Fast and Furious after the next two movies, 9 and 10.
That's bullshit.
Like they've already said that's going to be the end of.
That'll be the end of the family.
That's what I mean. Like that's the end of Vin Diesel's Fast and Furious,
okay,
and that's why Universal started this Hobbs and Shaw one to obviously keep making money off of this franchise. So.
And then you can bring in cameos. They got their own.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I also we're sitting in the movie theater, and Russell leans over to me when he was like, "We need to find somebody to fix this tech," and he goes, "Why don't you call Ludacris?" Like literally the guy that does all the tech for all the other Fast and Furious.
Or the girl he's dating now, which made God's Eye.
Yes, Ramsey. Right?
Yep.
Like, why would you not call one? Nope, I'm gonna call my brother, who, like you said, he worked on cars like 20 years ago. Like he can.
I'm pretty sure he can figure this out.
Like, no, my first call would have been to Ramsey.
How much time we got? We got 16 hours before it kills the world. All right, we're gonna spend 15 of that traveling across the world to my brother that might be able to help us out.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're gonna try to continue the franchise after this. Now, the Fast and Furious 9 comes out next summer, so I'll be interested to see.
So we're gonna get a trailer during the Super Bowl or something around that time.
Yes, okay. 100%. The Vin Diesel and The Rock rivalry, how they're gonna compare those numbers between their movies. Like, I'm sure Fast and Furious 9, they're bringing back. Brian, Paul Walker's character, his wife Mia, Vin Diesel's little sister, is coming back into it. So I wonder how they're going to work her in and not work Brian in, since Paul Walker's no longer with us. So I'm interested. I have no idea. I mean, they're bringing back everybody. They have another. What's his name? Another wrestler, John
Cena. Ba ba da da.
Sure.
I'm sorry. It's natural. It's in my blood. Sure. I'm internet gamer and all that. You've never seen any John Cena shit?
No. I mean, I know who he is.
I'm not even a wrestler.
No.
I'm not even a wrestling fan at all. But when you, God damn it, you and your Shia LaBeouf not being on top of pop culture shit from 5 years ago.
Sorry. But no, I'm interested to see how that movie performs compared to this movie, because that's what everybody's going to do. They're going to compare the two. But no, like I said, it's middle of the road for me for Fast and Furious movies. I could see it taking off, depending on how they go with the franchise. They've already set up a villain for the next couple movies, since we still don't know who he is.
So what's your grade? You're a 1 to 10. You gave it a 7?
7.
And it's bottom half of the Fast and Furiouses? And you gave it a 7? You are a generous bitch.
Sorry.
D+. It is a D+, but if you watch it in 40x, it becomes a C+. I'm not gonna lie, 40x, I'm gonna harp on that. I've been telling everybody about it, and it's something everybody needs to experience once. Don't go if you have problems with motion sickness or anything of the sort, or you want to enjoy a thing of popcorn or a drink, because that shit'll fucking be everywhere.
I will have to experience it. I don't think we have one here in Chattanooga, but
well,
eventually,
come on up.
Eventually I'll have to go.
All right, so that was the whole review of the Hobbs and Shaw movie.
Yeah, so let us know what you guys thought about it. Where do you rank it out of all Fast and Furious movies? Give it your grade, whether it's 1 to 10 or ABC. Give it your grade. Let us know where you rank it in all 9 of the Fast and Furious movies now.